Joshua Oigara, CEO, KCB Group. Pleasure to be speaking to you today.
Thank you very much, Ali Khan.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure to host you.
No, thanks. And I always enjoy coming in here because I know I was on my way this morning, Joshua, and I was thinking about 2011 when we were in New York.
Yes.
And I was sitting there and we were both talking late one night.
Right.
And I think I said to you, look, you're going to be the next CEO, and you weren't sure what I was. And I was right. And I'm so proud when I come here, to be honest.
You kind of struck me as a real maverick. You're kind of trying to see the future long before any other person was able to see it. And I think that is the messaging today for KCB, for Kenya, and for the region.
Yes.
Is how do we reimagine new possibilities?
Yeah.
In essence, you're creating a new frontier and creating a new world.
Yes.
Impacting not just our markets, but everyone else. So in the words of Barack Obama, who just visited us, it's about we must reimagine solutions for the world's biggest problems, and not just for Kenya, but for the world at large.
Did he inspire you, his visit?
I kind of was, I have listened to him speak many times,
Yes.
From 2008.
Yes.
And I think I couldn't imagine any leader that could speak very boldly and innately about our belief.
Yes.
An African-American president
Yes.
speaking to Africa about issues that we struggle with.
Yes.
And I think by homing in that only we determine and have the force to change the future of our destiny is something that we have talked about. But I think him reinforcing it and homing it home, I think gives us a new impetus to run.
I felt that.
So it was an exciting moment, and also for the young startups and entrepreneurs.
You went to the summit, didn't
so
you,
we had a great event. We had a pre-summit where we had more than 1,000 to 2,000 young people coming up and says, I can innovate this. This is my product. This is my startup. I'm in ICT. I'm in tourism. I'm travel agent. I am doing some farming. I'm in agribusiness.
Yes.
I'm doing some trading, importing items to the country. And what really happened, Ali Khan, is that you could see the energy, the engagement, the belief. And therein I could see San Francisco, I could see Singapore, I could see London.
Could you?
I could, and you could feel it.
Yeah.
Our young people are actually, in my view, very global positioned.
Yes.
And what you need to do is for them to think global than always thinking local context.
Fantastic. Funnily enough, I was queuing up at Kasarani for the president's speech, and I was listening because a lot of university students, and I remember turning to my wife and said, look at the potential, because it was intelligent conversation, hungry for success. Now, if I could just finish off there quickly, does a bank like yourself, I saw you made an announcement, a 1 billion shilling startup fund, is that correct? I heard you
absolutely
right?
correct to say that. But we have 3 strategies for us how to engage with our small businesses.
Yes.
And largely whether they're SMEs or startups.
Yes.
So today we have a Biashara club that has got 30,000 members. I've been running for the last 7-8 years. They do global benchmarking. Remember, I speak about it's not the big bank that will come and change our markets today, but it's about building relationship, building collaborations, and lastly, partnerships that bring global expertise here. That's why we have the Googles here, the HPs here, the GEs here. That's why we have Microsoft here. And that vision makes us, as well as we are local, become global. So we've also been able to build 20 billion shillings loans in the last 3 years on the SMEs. And our goal is to build that by another 30 billion in the next 3 years. And these are loans which are structured in terms of supporting their businesses. They are much more affordable. So in terms of the pricing, we look at each business profile, link them in the value chain of agribusiness, technology, transportation, aviation, tourism, every sector. Because what we see is, in addition as we need funding, we also need the mentorship, the connection to the value chain. That's what makes them successful. Funding by itself, Ali Khan, and that's what we want to provide. And then we realize for real startups, which may not have the access to funds, we set up an innovation fund. We set up a seed fund of 1 billion shillings in the next 3 years.
Who will be implementing that? Because, Joshua, people worry that a bank, to understand the startup culture, it's slightly different, or what's the model going to be?
So we said we're going to work very closely with the Enterprise Kenya.
Yes.
Because Enterprise Kenya has set up a kind of a program and says we have a team that looks at all these ideas. There's a process to validate them, to check them, to work with them. And then it's not free money, Ali Khan. Any business idea that will be successful needs to pay back the money that's borrowed. Absolutely true. Yeah. The issue here is breaking accessibility. This is the biggest issue. I have no security. I have no guarantors. But we're going to stand firm. And we build a lot of knowledge. You'll be very surprised.
Yes.
There's a young man that did for us, very excited. We have 2 businesses we're working with. One is Riverbank Solutions.
Yes.
Young Kenyan startups setting up. Today they're running business in excess of 500 million Kenyan shillings. Startup.
Wow.
Absolute startup. They're a technology company. They provide digital payment solutions. We're working with them from the last 3-4 years. We were the first business to give them funding as a startup to build the businesses.
That's interesting.
Yeah. The young man that built up a mobile app today, which I'm very excited about, the KCB mobile app, 3 million shillings. Not much. But we could provide that seed fund and say, run with it. To guys, so far we're building 100 million shillings of income in 6 months for this product.
So you've really sort of empowered these entrepreneurs.
So this is the most important aspect for us. That I also do believe that I'm looking to learn a lot from Safaricom. They set up their angel fund a year ago for $1 million or so.
Right.
So it's about This is an issue of saying it's me versus another organization. It's about how do we collaboratively build our knowledge and capability to imagine new solutions. That's for me. And then we link them up. Once you start up, naturally you are in the value chain. So our SME team will then pick you up and say, okay, now you've got some resources, you have businesses, can you plug you in the business model of the financial institutions? And these are the next large organizations for our country, Alikan. So it's I look at this as a continuum. A startup in itself is not an isolation incident. It's part of the journey of building a great Kenya, a great region, and a great Africa.
Fantastic. Joshua, let me go to the numbers because I could get carried away here. Joshua, you profit before tax up 13+%.
Correct.
Big expansion, Q1 to Q2 in terms of balance sheet size, nearly 10%.
Correct.
What's behind that?
You know, Alikan, I would say these are extraordinary results.
Yes, I thought so.
Yeah, and if you look at the momentum that we are building, we're way ahead of our targets, which is a good thing to be. You know, so, you know, and the area that has grown very fast for us is a small and medium enterprise business, growing by 30 to 35%.
In the first half.
In the first half, but more particularly in the second quarter.
Yeah. Which I can see
exactly.
from here.
So, and it's been a specific focus. We've been developing the team for the last year and saying, we want to be able to connect with the fabric of our economy. Yeah? And that's the DNA we want to carry on. You know, if you want to build champions, you're going to be with the champions.
Yes.
And that's what we're known for an organization. We've also seen major projects coming up. You know, infrastructure is a big area. Energy has been a big area for ourselves. You know, we still have, you know, tourism. We are doing a lot of hotels on the conference base. We just announced a bigger project here with Ole Sereni just the other day. And that's just one of the many that we're doing today in Nairobi. And in Mount Kenya, we're doing some. In Masai Mara, we're doing some. In the region, we have major projects again happening within East Africa. Yes. So we are seeing, in my view, you know, it's like a marathon. We are on the fast pace moment.
Yes.
Correct? And I think it's exciting to be in that pace where we are seeing businesses willing to create new breakthroughs for our organization and for their own country. And number two, and more important, is that we are able to connect today with a number of our customers, especially the micro one enterprises. Yes. And I would say one of the areas we've been very excited is about our innovation with M-Pesa. Yes. The KCB M-Pesa account has been a revolution.
Talk me through that, because how many customers have you got there,
so,
for example?
You know, Alikan, a year ago we said we want to build a partnership with Safaricom. It's a long-term. You know, I love personally Safaricom as an organization. So I'm a biggest admirer of Bob Collymore. Yes, because when you think about businesses that believe in their country's future, these are two, you know, it's interesting that we are all green organizations.
Yes, yes,
you know?
yes.
And I think it's to build on that momentum. And we said 2.5 million customers by the end of the year. 1 billion shillings in facilities by the end of the year. That was in March.
Yes.
Alikan, as we speak today, we are in excess of 2 million customers.
Wow.
As we speak today, we are ahead of 2 billion shillings total disbursements by the end of, as we speak now. We have 800,000 new microloans, distinct loans. This is like touching 800,000 different Kenyans.
It's amazing. And Joshua, you know, the product, you're doing behavioral analytics, aren't you? Exactly. Am I correct that how are you, can you just tell us a little bit about that? Because I thought that was quite
so
innovative.
When I look at the kind of information we're building, and this is something we've been very much, you know, we cannot build a business which is Kenyan born, Kenyan bred, without connecting with our younger people.
Yes.
It's an important part. You know, so we look at gender today. We also look at, you know, where are women borrowers, where are men
Judith
borrowers.
was telling me women borrowers are coming through this.
Absolutely. So we're now seeing, you know, moving up to 40% of all our borrowers or customers within the KCB Mobile Bank and KCB M-Pesa are actually women customers. And number two is that 63, 64, 65%. So 2/3.
I saw that.
2/3 are below the age of 35.
Yeah. Yes.
For me, that's a true catalyst. I mean, I speak about being in a frontier and pushing the agenda for our market. I look at the journey and say, these are the future hope for our country. And today, I say that in a way we are enabling the future today.
You are.
And as an
I
organization.
like that tweet you did yesterday.
So we are future ready.
Future-proofing
yes,
the
exactly. This is what we're looking for. And that's been very exciting for us. Then we start building information by the time they are 19. I have 18-year-old customers borrowing. By the time this year, guys are 25, they are already in somewhere revolving the changes in the business we are able to do. And that's the exciting part for us. So that's been an exciting business, Alikan, if you ask me.
That's phenomenal. I mean, and
so
exponential.
So we're looking at the numbers, so now we're saying, no. So we're looking at 5 million customers this year, additional customers.
On that platform.
On that platform. We're looking at a loan portfolio. So we're going to be able to triple our loan portfolio in this area. So now we're at 2 billion. We definitely will exceed the 5 billion mark this year.
Yes.
And that means we'll exceed more than 1.5 million new customers on loans alone. So we will be the largest bank in terms of approving loan products in our market today. And what is exciting is that it is building more capacity for customers to connect, dignifies customers' access to credit. So we removed kind of the barriers with this kind of product. And the repayment has been outstanding.
Oh, really?
So far, over 1 billion shillings has been paid.
Wow.
In the last 3 months.
So that you're taking a bet on the person on the street, right?
Exactly.
And that's working
and,
out.
And for me, it's not even about how much funds are we going to disperse in this kind of channel. For me, the value of building the KCB M-Pesa platform was about connecting with any person in Kenya, dignifying them and saying, I need my 100 shillings coming out of Kangemi to town. I don't have it. Once I'm able to go into this product and I will easy, kind of dial *844#.
Yes.
You already have your credit limit approved and notified.
Wow.
Correct? And when you come to town and you speak to Josh and you do your work, get your 100 bob, you pay the same back and you move on. Every single day we have more than, we're building that engine.
Yes.
And that for me is the exciting part. It is the future of our country.
It's fabulous. Joshua, 60-something% transactions happening on the digital platform.
Well, this has been completely, it's way ahead of our mark,
Wow.
because when I look at it.
I saw that number and I thought to myself,
yes.
That's just
But in many ways,
where does that come from? I mean, do you know?
So 2 major platforms.
Yes.
So KCB M-Pesa has been a major driver.
Yes.
Our KCB Mobi Bank has been a second driver. Our agents, KCB Mtani agents, has been a third driver. And a KCB merchants. So all these points of sale, digitizing payments, transport sector, retail stores, supermarkets, transport. That's area we're pulling ourselves on. And when you look at, it's not a surprise really, Alikan. If you look at the last 2 or 3 years, customers, particularly in Kenya and now in Rwanda, are very much used to their mobile devices.
Yes.
Yeah. Every single work around them, financial services, educations, banking, all this connection happens, whether it's WhatsApp. Just look at it this way, on our own social media engagement.
Yes.
This year, I think we are more than doubling our followers on Twitter, for instance.
Yes.
We are more than doubling our followers on Facebook.
You embrace that, Joshua.
But it tells you a lot about what is really happening. So it's not a singular item.
Yes.
It's a collaboration of efforts. And I love the process we are seeing in terms of that channel. But also what is happening is that we are seeing it's much cheaper to deliver services on the digital channels. So maybe in a branch, it's going to cost me, let's say, 100 shillings or 200 shillings to do a transaction. On my mobile phone, it's going to cost me 10 shillings.
Yes.
So you see, if I'm going to do 1,000 shillings, correct, at 200 shillings, well, that's 200,000. But if you're going to do 1 million transactions at 10 bob, it's 1 million shillings. Yeah. So it's a factor of 5.
Yes.
I mean, that's revolution.
That is.
It's a factor of 10.
And quite exponential.
And that's, so we are kind of in a non-linear mode.
Yes.
Yeah? So
I like that.
Yeah. So non-linearity is what you're looking for in our business. And when I see that progress, we want to grow faster and stronger. The branches are also doing much
250 more. Branches?
Exactly. So far, we're the largest network. So now the issue is to say, how do we build? So when you have more transactions, so generally our transactions are up, 30% up.
Okay.
Yeah, on a year-on-year basis. Yes. But what you are saying is that more than 70% are on the new channels.
Yes.
Yeah? And so actually what has grown is the digital channel growing much faster across the region. And it's not just a Kenya story, Ali Khan.
You're seeing this
in
the
Rwanda,
region?
we are seeing a fantastic growth opportunity, doubling our transactions in Rwanda on the mobile on our agency. Correct? We are running towards 1,000 agents in the market this year. Uganda is now picking up the whole issue about mobile banking as well, and Tanzania as well. So the region, you start connecting a new environment, a new platform, a new marketplace, which connects customers on a real-time basis.
Can I now just talk about the region and that? I mean, we've had some tough times, Joshua. I mean, South Sudan has not settled down. I think if you asked anybody, would we be here now, they might not have thought so. Burundi, we've had some challenges. But I saw in your numbers that your subsidiary contribution jumped to double digits. Correct. Can you give us some perspective on that? What's happening?
Alikan, you have to see it from where we start from as an organization. I am a strong believer. We have a long-term Pan-African vision for our business and for the market. That's what we are focusing on.
You are a Pan-African, I saw.
Well, thank you very much, Alikan. And we said, in the market in South Sudan, so the basic of the business is still in the early stages. So largest customer bank today with 51% of the market share in South Sudan. In fact, we have increased market share in the last 6 months in South Sudan. It's amazing. Yeah. So we.
And I saw it actually was quite stable.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So, I'm confident that we will resolve.
How did you insulate yourself then as a bank from that uncertainty?
Well, we are, in a way, in a positive way, we are within the DNA of South Sudan. Every single place you will find us. So we are actually not different. So we are naturally a local organization in each and every major town in South Sudan. So we've been able to, and what we've seen a lot of customers moving into KCB because they believe in the strength of the organization. So it's more confidence. In fact, my bigger problem in South Sudan is that I have got a lot of customers coming in, which is an exciting story, way ahead of our ambition. So in the last 6 months, I think this year we will be able to grow our customer numbers by 30%.
In South Sudan?
In South Sudan. So the business is growing, new hotels are coming up, you're seeing new transportation companies coming up. There is challenges of the dollar, which is naturally driven for two reasons. The political crisis, which we see, and therefore lower oil production, and of course, Alcan, a lower oil price.
Correct.
In terms of per barrel of oil that they're producing.
Yes.
So, and the country is getting a little bit innovative, I must say. They are building new revenue sources.
Are they?
Yes. So like now, we're now the main agent to collect non-oil revenue across South Sudan.
And you're seeing,
and we're seeing dramatic progress. We're seeing dramatic revenues being collected.
Of course, this story doesn't come out sometimes.
And so there is activity. I spend at least 1 or 2 days every month in Juba.
Yes.
And whether it's a Rumbek, I actually go back to see the places where they are. So there is activity. The average person in the country is running.
Yes.
What we need to support and push is a political solution for the crisis. And I am confident that both IGAD and the African Union, with the support of the United Nations, will get at the solutions for this issue this year.
Excellent. That would be good.
Burundi was quite a surprise, absolutely a surprise. We had anticipated the Burundi problem. We knew most likely there was going to be an issue. Our business runs, it's not as big. We have 3 branches today that are running. And we do believe that, over time we have maybe a 3 to 5 year agenda. Our business is too young. So maybe the impact at the group level may not be significant. But what is different in Burundi and Rwanda, we have perhaps some of the youngest population in East Africa. Average age, 19.
Are you serious?
19. When you see these young guys, boys and girls, or young men and young women, the enthusiasm and the belief about determining themselves is second to none.
But I think, Joshua, you empower these young people because you believe in them, you see, and they get that straight away when they meet you.
Alikan, I always say, and I believe that the young people have the greatest sway in determining the destiny of our markets. There is no two-way. I mean, it's more than 65%. So we are part of the older generation. And people say that I'm young. I see it's very different. When you're in Rwanda or Burundi, the age profile is different. Even in Kenya, if you look at the young people speaking when Obama was around, the young generation of people. And new ideas come, correct? New visions come. And if we can connect the dots, you see, the challenge in history, in business, we can always connect the dots going backwards.
Yes, that's right.
There is no innovation connecting. No. The gentlemen and the women who will connect the dots going forward creates the revolution in the market. That's what we want to do as a business.
Wow. Joshua, where are we going next? Because I saw a couple of reports yesterday of Bloomberg and Reuters talking about Mozambique, Ethiopia, DRC. Can you give us some perspective on what's
And I want to be
happening?
very clear, about this. And it's a very good question you ask, because sometimes I think it's not very clearly understood. So the last 3 years for our business has been strengthening our international business on an approach of consolidation. So no new markets, 2010 all the way, except Burundi, which was kind of a late entry, to 2015. So we're very keen about building a relationship in Ethiopia. That's a key area for us, and we're having conversations today.
You see that market opening up, Joshua?
It will open
Yes.
up. It will open up. It's a more long-term market. It's not, and generally, Alican, African markets are not short-term.
No.
Yeah? And I could always say that there is no market globally which is short-term. In terms of investment, you're going to take some view and say, this is where I want, especially in the frontier markets, you're going to be able to see a more 5 years, a more 7-year approach in those markets. So our entry in that market is much more seen as we're going to set up kind of a rep office. And that's really what we're going to do. And we're going to build our trading partners. Remember, our strategy for expansion is customer-led.
Yes.
We have a number of our customers.
So you're
today.
seeing your customers now go in.
We already have a number of our customers from Uganda today, our customers from South Sudan today, already doing business in Ethiopia. And they're saying, how could we connect? How do we enable? So if you look at the economic pillar for IGAD, integrating itself with EAC, naturally there's a positioning for an institution of the capability and strength of ourselves to connect.
Correct.
That is the platform we are putting ourselves. I mean, today, of course, you won't be able to get a license to operate a bank, but we are running on a slow pace to progress. And by the way, a rep office for trading is a fantastic opportunity for ourselves in South. So that's an area we are going for.
Okay.
So we also have, Mozambique that remains. So we have a number of our customers.
It seemed in Mozambique, the quote yesterday was that you're looking at an acquisition there.
So our expansion program has always been driven on acquisition. It's not going in to start. I mean, generally our experience from greenfields, it is going to take much more time, and you anyway invest the same amount of resources. Yeah, it's not any cheaper. So the issue is we find a collaborative business that we're working with today very nicely. That's a very good way to find a partnership with themselves. Like what we are doing. So in DRC is not an investment you're looking for. DRC, we actually have a partnership already today with the Trust Merchant Bank.
Yes.
So where our customers are able to build an engagement directly. And Trust Merchant Bank is the largest bank in the DRC. So we already have a platform. So, and they connect customers, and they are based in Lubumbashi. They connect customers in Zambia, in Tanzania, in Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, with the DRC.
Wow.
And in these markets, we are in the 4 of the markets. They are in the 2 of the markets. So we are giving a customer one natural, basket of solutions for them. And that's our strategy, because trade is a big part.
Yes.
Alican between ESC. It's part of the Northern Corridor strategy.
Yes.
If you think about that, then DRC naturally is connected to Burundi, to Rwanda, to Uganda, to Kenya.
Because I remember once you telling me that one of your busiest branches was in Rwanda, over the border from the DRC.
Exactly. So Gisenyi today, which is the most active branch, just not far away from it's actually at the border with the DRC. You have a lot of activities happening, and we are very focused on the eastern part. And this is why we pick up Trust Merchant Bank, because they are naturally based on the east to say, how do we build?
And you have a common language as well.
So it's not. So our view there is not that we're going to go and make an investment. We're going to build a partnership already with an institutions for trading purposes. So again, our customers, we already have 4 of our large customers asking us, I want you to provide the network for me to bank my proceeds, my sales in DRC to Uganda. And that platform we must provide. So we are now running our next 5-year agenda from 2015 to 2020. And these are the 3 countries that we are really looking at ourselves. So South Sudan so Ethiopia is very specific.
Yes.
Mozambique is very specific. These are the 2 areas I would say we want to run.
And DRC will be this enhanced collaboration.
Exactly. So and more banks will want to be in the region. Look, when you look at financial access for customers in the region, is the lower of 10%. So the opportunity is boundless.
Yes.
Yeah. Even Kenya today, if you look at the innovation of KCB M-Pesa,
Yes.
if you look at the opportunities, when you set up this product, we can see that
So you think you can roll that kind of product out across the continent,
Absolutely.
right?
We want to build on the same platform. And this is one of the, Kenya
Is it extendable? I mean, have you got a model now? Does the architecture...
So we are replicating the same today with MTN in Rwanda. We are replicating the same thing today with Econet in Burundi. We are working with the same models today with MTN in Uganda. Same.
So this is your collaboration strategy,
exactly.
right?
I am a strong, like my long vision for, and this is the view I see in our markets in Kenya, is we're going to build on the common strengths of our leading organizations and build on that to create innovations for our customers. I am not a guy that is going to run a singular race to build all aspects of business, but I believe that with Safaricom and KCB, the two of us create the third force, the third alternatives, which is better than two of us running independently. That is the strategic intent of our business. It is the way to open up in a short way and leapfrog, I'm borrowing this one from Barack Obama, the growth agenda for the region and for Africa, and create opportunities for younger people who are the majority anyway with hunger to succeed on the global economy. We're going to connect, we're going to see the connection as a bigger pie for our business. I think for too long we're focusing on the local agenda and saying it is me today. Could we say, how do I, as Josh and Alikan in Nairobi, connect to the global economy in London and Singapore, and New York and Nairobi and Sarah, together, and it creates a marketplace that is 5 times bigger. That is the race we want to run today.
Fantastic. Joshua, 2 more questions. I know you're in a rush. Just describe to me now what this business looks like in 2 years, 3 years.
Our goal, Alikan, is to build a very strong financial services group. We are way beyond. Remember, when I spoke last time, I said that banking is naturally a financial services continuum.
That's right.
Yeah? It isn't an instant by itself. It's not lending that is seen as banking. So we're going beyond and say, so we are saying, how do we double this? And we want to reach 1 trillion shillings. We want to be the first institution to hit 1 trillion shillings. Yes. So we are now just shy of 600 billion.
Yes.
Correct?
Yeah, with a good spike up in the last quarter.
Exactly. Now, if you look at the growth we are running today, there's the 100 billion every year. In 4 years' time, we're going to reach 1 trillion shillings.
And I saw another quote saying you've got 80 billion shillings of approvals. So you're seeing a ton of.
What Kenya needs and what East Africa needs, for sure, is banks that have a different vision of how they look at capital. Capital is seen many times as a simple ratio. But in my own view, I believe that you must measure your capital based on the journey you're going to run. If you're going to run, if you're flying out from here to London, you better make sure that the engines and the fuel in your aircraft is full. If you're going to be on a half tank, most likely you're going to make your journey. And that's the vision. If you're going to go a short-term race, you can have half fuel.
Yes.
But if you're going to go a long-run race, you're going to have fuel for you to fill you through the journey. And that's what you're going to do.
To fulfill Joshua's dream.
So this is the vision, that we will definitely need to increase our size of capital. That is the reality of the matter. And we've always said, from 2014, we've always said that we will look ourselves into recapitalizing the bank. And I am very much supportive and very much behind what the minister is doing, or the cabinet secretary of the National Treasury.
Consolidate, raising the capital.
Because we have to have high ambition, Alikan. I say the greatest tragedy in our market is to have smaller vision, small ambition, achieve them, and have a party. Whereas someone else has got twice the same vision, achieves 90%, and is thinking about, okay, do we have a party or not? Ultimately, he's running a three race, and we're running a singular race. Who makes progress? The guy with high ambitions. So the dreams we're going to have must be big dreams. Dreams, in my view, that in one way scare you. That say, can I?
Yes.
The dreams I always say that dreams are the things and the visions that get you away from, not to sleep. You carry with them every day.
I know that.
It's not what you're waiting for, to come late in the night and say, I'm going to sleep and the dream comes. No, I say different. So capital-wise, I believe that institutions generally in Kenya, including ourselves, must increase our size of capital. The race we're running is quite big and it's very broad.
What do you think you're doing? How are you going to get the capital?
So there are many ways of looking. We're looking. So today, as we speak, we are actually doing an international credit rating.
Yes.
It's going to be It's actually been finalized already.
Yes.
We're waiting for the results.
You also got a South African credit rating, which was the highest credit rating, I think, of any bank in the region.
Of any institution in the region, in Alican. So we are working ourselves already today with the Standard & Poor. We are working with Moody's.
Yes.
Correct? And I'm sure that by the end of this quarter or at the beginning of next quarter, we'll have our ratings down. So we are preparing ourselves on international debt markets. Yeah, but we're also speaking to our shareholders as well. I think we did mention to them in the last AGM and say we are ready. Yes. So we haven't finalized yet on the structure today.
But we know you're
going to go. But we're going to go. And it's in the month of August, we're going to be able to say, this is the approach, this is where we're going. More likely, in my view, the banks need to raise significant amount of capital. I have no doubt. You know, we will get the figure anyway in the couple of weeks. But I believe that that is the only way. And look at it this way, Alikan. So when we talk about startup businesses, entrepreneurs, look at the Techno City, look at Konza City, look at the road project, the annuity project, look at the ports, look at the horticulture, look at the tourism, look at the manufacturing. Those projects require nothing less than $20 billion to be financed in the next 3 years. We are not prepared.
Is that your calculation?
Exactly. Minimum, excluding the project in Uganda, project in Rwanda. We need that. $20 billion in 3 years.
And you want to play the big role in that.
Exactly. We want to take our rightful market share.
And that means you got to get ahead of the curve on the capital side.
Exactly. So we are prepared for that. And I think capital will never be, I mean, African institutions require to be strong. And also looking at what's happening in the global economy. I think banks that are running a sustainable, strong business needs to look about how to build a long-term business that is good and solid. So we're not chasing growth for growth's sake, but we want to chase sustainable growth, which is inclusive as well.
Yes.
That brings in more people within the network. And I can assure you, when I look at the program we're running, like the partnership with Safaricom and M-Pesa, by bringing in more customers today, we are able to engage our own agents more actively. They have more, we are pushing more volumes. They have got more fees and commissions. They have, they have better revenues. They can pay for their security, their children education, their health care. That is a better country, Alikan. It's about enabling possible. I say it's a period of not thinking about impossibilities, but about potential breakthrough. Yes. It's a period to think about renewal and renaissance for our country, not about problems and critique. It's about being positive. It's about being a possibilitarian. That's what I think, Alikan, our story is all about.
You're describing this extraordinary renaissance, this extraordinary period. Basis point increase.
Correct.
Interest rates.
I mean, let me say, Alikan, that even before I answer the questions, I always say that in our markets, and especially in Kenya, when I look at what I call entrepreneurship centricity, you know, we have people that really want to build solutions for problems. When I look at that focus, we are seeing that we are able to build new boundaries. And those new boundaries today being created by every single sector, financial services, tourism, science, technology, industry, are creating what I call a new normal. So because we have always seen things one way. Now I like to see it differently, another way. It's not that we only have one road. I say it's a two-way highway. That's what we're building in our markets. So let's look at innovation, for instance. So we export for many years innovation, M-Pesa, as one of the biggest strategic expansions in the last few years abroad the world, across the world. So Kenya receives innovation in healthcare, but delivers innovation in financial services. So we must see this two-way innovation traffic that is happening is a double-way highway. That's what I see in our markets. And when you look at, of course, you then face challenges. You know, traditionally, we never believed that Kenya could export innovations across the world. And I was very privileged to just on the eve of the summit of the GS, I got a chance to interview some of the Africans renowned and celebrated entrepreneurs. You know, Strife Masiyiwa, for instance. Ashish Thakur, you know, speaking to our own Mike Masharia and Monica Musonda, our own deputy president. 10 years ago, if you're speaking about, 20 years ago, speaking about African entrepreneurs, you probably wouldn't find Africans on the table. But you found founding, you know, entrepreneurs, chairmen and CEOs leading Pan-African businesses recognized by the Forbes, Financial Times, anyone in the world. That for me is exciting. So when I look at the area, we like to see the challenges as opportunities. And that's what we see the macro situations across the region. It's not extraordinary. You know, what we see is a moment where we can be able to build an opportunity and plug in about what will become. So across the region, we have seen difficult periods anyway in the past, and we come out much stronger. It's where you find yourself in the wave. Are you in the wave, Or are you approaching the wave? So you're going to be, for those of you who kind of do windsurfing, or kite surfing, you probably know exactly how to take on the surf when you're within the wind, or when you're within the sea, when you're within the waves. And that's how we see ourselves. We also have a very strong policy today. If we look at all the central banks, I think what you're seeing today is a situation that is going to be, the weakening of the shilling, in my view, at least from what we see, has a lot to do with the global economy as well. So the strengthening of the greenback. And it's not just Kenya alone. I have looked at the top 100 currencies globally. 98% of these currencies are weakened to the USD. So Kenya could 12% isn't an outlier. We have got countries in West Africa, countries in South Africa. We have South Africa itself. Yeah. So that's not really a concern. We have countries in Asia. We have countries in Eastern Europe. We have countries in South America. I think there must be strengthening of the US dollar has to do a lot with what we see in terms of our weakness. But I see a moment, and I see the management of inflations, I see what is happening with the economic growth, the new sectors, Kenya's global positioning as a center for innovation and a natural hub for ICT, for tourism. You just look at that, and the positivity that comes with it gives you more potential. I believe that this kind of summit has brought more deals ever in one single day than the entire 2 years in our market.
Joshua Oigara, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Congratulations on your well-deserved top 25 Africans to watch.
Thank you.
In the Financial Times. I was so glad when I saw that.
Thank you.
I thought they were right. And thank you once again.
Thank you very much, Alec.
Congratulations.
I really appreciate it. Thank you for coming.
I appreciate it.
Great day.
I come in here, you inspire me.
Thank you very much,
Thank
sir.
you.
I appreciate it.